you have TikTok and you like basketball, you probably know Showtown Hoops.
Children of all ages, act like you know.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world. What's happening? Y'all know what time it is when y'all see me. It is Chilltown Hoops. I'm in effect. I know what time it is when y'all see me, man. This is what it is. So, we've had some action over the past couple of days. We got a lot of guys beat up, which kind of sucks, by the way, man, because I really would love to just see a season, right? Just a season where, you know, I could get minimal injury. For example, like 2016. 2016 was one of the best seasons in NBA history. One of the best seasons that I ever seen. You know, it was minimal injury, wasn't a lot of people beat up, and with that, right? With that, yeah, we got some great basketball, but I would love to see minimal injury, right? I would love to see that. So I want to start the conversation tonight by talking about what it takes to win an NBA championship and how teams build their unit. Teams build their units on ideologies, and teams build their unit on things going their way. You know, we're hoping that this happens. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, hope isn't a plan, but that's kind of part of it. I'm going to do everything that I can to ensure that you stay healthy. And I hope we stay healthy while doing this. But I'm going to do all the other necessary things in order to ensure that we have a chance. So, for example, when the Bulls were building their championship unit, they drafted Jordan. They got Charles Oakley. They signed John Paxson in free agency. They ended up drafting Scottie Pippen in 87. They draft Horace Grant in 87. They move off of Charles Oakley in 89. In 88, I'm sorry. They trade for Bill Cartwright. They have this unit together. They draft B.J. Armstrong. This unit is being built around Jordan. And with it being built around Jordan, the idea is for him to hold up. We'll see if we can get him to buy into our new system, right? We'll see if we can get him to buy into our new system, which he did. That was something that was necessary, right? That wasn't something that I could sit down and say, well, it was a stretch. No, it was necessary. We had to get Jay to buy into our new system. Otherwise, we weren't going to win, right? We weren't going to win. So with that being said, right? With that being said, we built this unit around the idea that Jordan would hold up, and he did. But then they had some things go their way. So in addition to them becoming a better team, they had some things go their way. Isaiah Thomas misses half the season with a wrist injury. So that Detroit Piston unit is out of sorts. That wasn't ideal for them. Same logic with the Rockets. They built that unit. You trade for Kenny Smith. You sign Vernon Maxwell. You trade for Otis Thorpe. You draft Robert Horry. You get Mario Ellie in free agency. All of this stuff, right? All of this stuff that you're getting, right? All of this stuff that you're getting this, and the idea is to build this around Olajuwon. And building this around Olajuwon, the idea is for him to hold up. If Olajuwon doesn't hold up, this whole thing goes to pieces. What we're trying to do goes strictly to pieces. I'm sorry, I apologize. I thought I had this off. I'm sorry. This whole thing goes to pieces, right? So with that, he held up. With him being able to hold up, they end up winning the NBA championship. They got lucky also. They were able to avoid the Seattle Supersonics. So they had some fortune on their side. So being healthy, who you building this thing around is important. And that person holding up. And if that person doesn't hold up, this thing goes to pieces. That's what happened right now with Chet. That's what's going on right now with Chet. If you remember just 2 years ago, the Oklahoma City Thunder are in the play-in tournament. The next year, you add Chet to this roster. You add Chet to this unit. They're the number 1 seed in the West. Why are they the number 1 seed in the West? They're the number 1 seed in the West because you add a dynamic that wasn't there the year before. You add a rim protector. You add a paint presence. You add a stretch 5 who can put the ball on the floor and score it at the rim, who can score it on one dribble and pop, who can pass. That was an element that you didn't have, because now what that does is that causes mismatch nightmares. And more importantly, he held up. Because remember, the year before that, he didn't hold up. He had a foot injury. So the idea was for Chet to hold up. So the next year, right? So the very next year, which is this year, the Oklahoma City Thunder are trying to compete for the NBA championship. That's the idea. The idea is for them to compete for the NBA championship. I still think that they're a year away, even before Chet gets injured, but the idea is for them to compete for the NBA championship. Chet comes back, he's better, he looks stronger. He's still a little thin, but I think that's always going to be him. I don't think he's ever going to be Giannis or Ben Wallace or Shaq or anything like that. And if I'm being honest with you, I think that might take away from his game. So I don't think that he'll ever be that. With that being said, the idea was for him to be healthy, because he gives us the dynamic that we don't have. And not only that we don't have, that other teams don't have. If you look at just the Western Conference, I ain't even talking about the rest of the NBA. If you look at the Western Conference, how many Western Conference teams have a stretch 5 that's that good on the defensive side of the ball? How many of them had that? Anthony Davis. I mean, Joker isn't as good on the defensive side of the ball, but he's the best player in the league. How many teams have that? Just in the Western Conference alone. I don't mean in the NBA, just in the West alone. So if I look in the Western Conference and I see 2, maybe 3 teams that have that, right? 2, maybe 3 teams that have that. We're at the top of the West. Because we have a dynamic. We have a dynamic that the majority of you, 90% of you, don't have. We have that. And because we have that, we have to be in the hunt. And we have to be in the conversation. So then when Chet goes out, because again, this offense is very much like, it's not the same as Joel Embiid, but it's similar to what's going on with Joel Embiid, where the majority of the things that we do are predicated on Chet. The majority of he stretches the defense and opens up our offense. He mans the paint for us. He rim protects with the best of them. He's one of the better rebounders in the game. He's one of the better shot blockers in the game. Not a lot of teams have that. So a lot of the things that we are doing are predicated on Chet. So me as a perimeter defender, if I'm Alex Caruso, I know that I could be super and ultra aggressive on the perimeter. You know why? Because I got that big fella behind me cleaning up my mess. If I'm SGA, I know that I can be aggressive in the passing lanes and off the basketball. Why? Because I got that big fella behind me cleaning up my mess. I know that. Lou Dort. All of these guys, they know that I can be super aggressive as a perimeter player because I got insurance. I got a guy behind me that's running you off, that's running you out of the paint. I got a guy that's running you away from the rim. I got a guy that's doing that. And our defense is predicated on that. Our offense is the same way. The same way. I got a big guy that can crack the long ball. I got a big guy who can play in the mid-range. I got a big guy who can play in the mid-post. That opens up spacing because that brings that big guy away from the basket. When that brings that big guy away from the basket, that opens up lanes for SGA. That opens up lanes for J-Dub. That opens up lanes for guys like Lou Dort. And then when he's cracking the long ball, that opens up the offense even more. Now, take him off the floor, we are significantly worse. One, we don't have the size that we used to have. So now when we play against teams that play small ball and thrive at it, like the Golden State Warriors, we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. When I watch the Golden State Warriors in Oklahoma City a couple of nights ago, and Golden State ran a lineup with Gary Payton, Curry, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Dre. You can't match that lineup, Oklahoma City. The difference with you matching that lineup is Chet. And the reason why is Chet, because I can put Chet in the post. I can put Chet closer to the basket. Not only can I put Chet closer to the basket, I can put him in the mid-range. I can drag Draymond away from the basket. I can put Chet at the long ball line. I can drag Draymond away from the basket. He can't quarterback the defense if he's playing against Andre Drummond. He can't quarterback the defense playing against Chet like he can with Andre Drummond, off the strength that Andre Drummond isn't the threat that Chet is. So we can't do that. That's not realistic. Now you take Chet off the floor, and these small ball teams like Phoenix, where you got Tyus Jones at the 1, Book at the 2, Bradley Beal at the 3, Royce O'Neal at the 4, and KD at the 5. Like, you can't compete with that because you don't have that other element. And that's the divide where you being a champion and you just being a good team, that's where the divide is. And losing Chet was a big deal. I think this sinks them. Because remember, we're talking about 8 to 10 weeks before he's evaluated again. It's not 8 to 10 weeks before he can play. He might not be running for a month or two. He might not run for a month. For all we know. He could very well be laid up. He could very well be laid up for the next month and a half. That could very well happen. He could be laid up for the next month and a half. And in the Western Conference, when I lose a vital piece like that, like Chet, that could sink us, which I think it will. I think it does. Now, when I say sink them, I don't mean that they turn into the Trailblazers. No, I ain't saying that. I don't think that they're Utah. Nope, I don't think that neither. However, are they at the top of the Western Conference? Are they legit contenders? No. I think that they're going to win some games. I do think that they're going to win some games, but it could be a struggle depending on how long you lose Chet. It could be a struggle getting into the playoffs. That could happen. That could very well happen. It could be a struggle getting into the playoffs, considering what the Western Conference is and how tough the Western Conference is going to be. When you have, right, when you have teams that are, when you have teams that are that good, I can't afford to lose anybody. Forget for that amount of time. I can't afford to lose anybody. Like this dude, Noman, the dynasty is back. Shut up. Pipe down, Goofy. Pipe down. I'm talking. Pipe down. Because when your boys miss the playoffs or get bounced in the second round or the first round, it's going to be crickets out of you. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm not thinking maybe. I'm not thinking possibly. It's going to be crickets out of you. I'm sure of that. I am sure of that. So anyway, this is really unfortunate, right? This is really unfortunate because even though I still think Oklahoma City is a year away, I felt like with Chet being there, this puts them one step closer to getting over the hump. Yep, this puts them one step closer to getting over the hump because Chet can get stronger. Chet could get more experience. They can develop more of a chemistry. And remember, you still got Chet on the Rook deal, which, by the way, with Chet getting injured, so he misses year one, he plays last year, he gets hurt this year, you might be able to get Chet on the cheap. You might be able to. Now, what you're not trying to hear is you're not trying to hear just letting Chet walk out the front door. I'm not trying to hear that neither, right? I'm not trying to hear that neither, but you might be able to get him on the cheap off the strength of 2 of the last 3 years you didn't have him. He misses the whole season his rookie year, and in this year, he's going to miss up to 2.5 months. At minimum, he's going to miss 2.5 months because, again, he's going to be reevaluated. right? He's going to be reevaluated in 2.5 months, 8 to 10 weeks. I don't know when he's going to start running. You know, he's got a broken hip. Like he doesn't have a bruise. It's not a bruise, right? It's not a strain. He's got a fractured hip. Those hips are nothing to play with, man. I watched that destroy Bo Jackson's career. Bo Jackson's career was destroyed at that point because of a hip injury. He was never the same after that. His football career was over. He still was able to resume baseball off the strength that he still had a rocket arm. But like these hip injuries, they can be detrimental. I'm hoping that that's not the case with him. This is one of the main reasons why I worry about Wemby, because the talent that he is, right? The talent that he is and how awesome he is he going to hold up? Same logic with Chet, because I think that if these guys are able to hold up, I think this is the future of the NBA. I think this is what we're looking at. I think this is what we're looking at as the future of the league. A bunch of Wembys and a bunch of Chets running around, right? A bunch of Wembys and a bunch of Chets running around. So with that being said, right? With that being said, I still have to wait it out. But I think this sinks, depending on how Chet comes back, I think this sinks Oklahoma City. I definitely, for him to be out almost 2.5 months, for him to be out that long, this could sink them. In terms of them being a championship contender, this could sink them. Because I don't know what Chet's going to look like coming back. I don't. I have no idea what he's going to look like coming back. And I hope this isn't as serious as advertised. So what does this mean for the Western Conference, though? Right? So when you think about the Western Conference, what does this mean for the Western Conference? I had Minnesota coming out of the West, right? I had Minnesota coming out of the West. I thought that Minnesota, when we get to the end of the season, the dynamic that Julius Randle brings, the paint presence, the distributor, him being able to knock shots down in the mid-range, him being able to get to the rim, them pushing him to compete. So when he doesn't compete, they get on him, and he accepts that, because I saw that against the Bulls. I saw Prigioni. I don't know if you remember, Prigioni used to play for the Knicks, but I saw Prigioni getting on Julius Randle for his effort, and I saw him respond to that. He didn't just roll over, or he didn't pout, he didn't stomp his feet. You know what, coach? You're right. I got to get on my job. And that's a pro right there, right? That's a pro right there. So with that being said, right, with that being said, I look at this, I look at the now Western Conference, and we have a shift. We 100% have a shift. I think the Warriors are the only team with one loss. They're small. They're really athletic, but I mean, they won the NBA championship with Steph, Clay, and Dre. Only Steph Clay's not there anymore. But they won the NBA championship with Wiggins and Dre and Steph. Can Steph put this unit back on his? Can Steph take this unit back to the NBA championship? Can Steph bring this unit back to the NBA championship, considering what the Western Conference is? And thinking about the teams that are the bigger teams in the league, right? Thinking about the mismatch nightmare that Joker causes for teams like the Golden State Warriors, because they're small. How he just cleans glass and takes advantage of mismatches. And that fact that they got guys like Jamal Murray back in the lineup. They get Aaron Gordon back in the lineup. That's going to be hell for a team like the Golden State Warriors front line. That's going to be hell for Phoenix's front line. And Oklahoma City doesn't have their big guy. That's going to be hell for them. But then you got teams like Minnesota, who they got Julius Randle, a glass cleaner, and a bucket getter. Anthony Edwards, I think we're going to level off at some point at the long ball line. I think we're going to get to a point where it's not going to be here, but it's not going to be here neither. It's going to be right around here. And, you know, when you're shooting that many long balls, I can't believe that you're going to consistently knock down 45% of them at 12 a game. I think that's a lot to ask, especially from a guy who just started doing it. Like Ant wasn't considered a shooter, but Ant's knocking down the long ball. I mean, except for last game, he missed 10. He missed 10 of his 14 long balls. The thing that I've always worried about, and I see it with the Boston Celtics, I've always worried and concerned myself with a guy who can hit the three and falls in love with the three. Jason Tatum does that. Jason Tatum drives me crazy with that. He does. Jason Tatum drives me mad with that. Makes me nuts with it because this is a guy who can do other things, but he falls in love with the long ball off the strength that that's by design. I don't think it's by design with Minnesota. And I don't want this to be something that they now consistently just fall on. You know, Alexander Walker is one of the better perimeter defenders in the game. I love his game. DiVincenzo, one of the better long ball shooters in the game. Julius Randle, one of the better creators at the big spot, which really helps them because he draws so much attention. And because he draws so much attention, man, wide open shots for DiVincenzo, wide open shots for Anthony Edwards, wide open shots for Alexander Walker, wide open shots for Naz Reid. So, you know, when you have that kind of dynamic, Minnesota has to be in the mix. They have to be. 100% they got to be in the mix. So I'm thinking to myself, who is at the top of the Western Conference now? The Warriors, Phoenix, Minnesota, Denver. And the question that was asked was, when the Warriors came back off this 3-game road trip, what was it going to look like? Right? What was it going to look like? I mean, they had just gotten Steph back not too long ago. So what was it going to look like with the Golden State Warriors? And I mean, they went 2-1 on this road trip. I mean, they got destroyed by Cleveland, but you know, when you're shooting 65% on the long ball in the first half and you hold that Golden State Warriors team to what you held them to defensively, that's pretty impressive. I'm not sure if that's sustainable, but that's pretty impressive for Cleveland on that specific night. With that, a lot of Golden State's action, most of their production comes from them being one of the better defensive teams in the league. If you remember, the years that they were either in the NBA championship or won the NBA championship. In 15, they won the NBA championship. They're the best defense in the league. In 16, they were in the NBA championship, won 73 games. I think they had the second best defense in the league. In 17, I think they had the third best defense in the league when they won the NBA championship. In 22, I think they had the best defense in the league. So the defense is sustainable with Golden State. I already know what it is with the long ball because you're going to have those stretches where, you know, you're not going to be able to shoot the long ball that well. It's just going to happen. You're not going to be able to shoot the long ball that well. So as long as the defense is there and to see if they can, if this can continue, I'll be interested to see if this can continue. I didn't have the Warriors making the playoffs before the year started. I didn't. I did not have the Warriors making the playoffs before the year started. And I think it's pretty incredible that they're doing what they're doing right now. It is. It's really incredible what they're doing right now. Now, as far as the rest of the Western Conference, I think that the door is wide open. Like guys like Chet, guys like Anthony Davis, guys like Joker, they swing the pendulum because you don't have this. We can supplement Curry cracking the long ball. We can supplement that because we got guys as a collective that crack the long ball. We got guys as a collective who can score the basketball. Like we got guys who can crack the long ball like Anthony Edwards in Denver. In Minnesota. We got guys who can crack the long ball, right? The question is the question is I'm not apologizing to you, Noman. I'm not apologizing to you. Like, I just got to ask the question. And not too long ago, I got to ask the question: who are the worst fan base? The Golden State Warriors. I hate you guys with a passion. I do. I hate you guys. You guys make me sick. You guys are worse than Cowboy fans. Cowboy fans, Patriots fans, and Warriors fans are right at the top of the list of some of the most delusional people ever. Watch this. In your estimation, and I'm asking you, chat, in your estimation, how many more years you think Steph Curry has at this level? In your estimation, chat, if I'm asking you an honest question, which I am, I'm asking you an honest question right now. How many more years do you think Steph Curry has at this level? See what I'm talking about? This is Noman, right? He thinks that Steph Curry has at least 3 more years at this level. Now, just so we clear, right? Just so we clear, when the playoffs start in April, Steph Curry's going to be 37 years old. So he's telling you that Steph Curry, 3 years from now, at 40 years old, he's still going to be playing at this level, at minimum 3 years. That doesn't mean that when he starts to slow down, he can do other things. So he can probably play another 3 more years. He can probably play another 3 more years. This is the delusion that I have. This is the delusion that makes me crazy with Warriors fans. Y'all dudes make me nuts. And I can't have honest basketball conversations with you guys because you wrapped up in your fandom. And I won't have conversations with you. No, man, stop talking to me, man. Please, stop talking to me. I'm trying to talk basketball here. I'm not talking basketball with you because you're wrapped up in your fandom. And I'm not talking basketball with you. I will not talk basketball with you. You're wrapped up in your fandom. You will always be wrapped up in your fandom. You will only see the Golden State Warriors like they are. You will only see them that way. You will never see them any other way. You will never see them objectively. That's why I can't talk basketball with you. For you to sit here and tell me that Steph Curry, who will be 37 years old, imagine if I said Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant. You know, KD, when he's 40, he's still going to be averaging 25 a game. KD or Anthony Davis or Joker or just a guard, Damian Lillard, when he's 40, he's still going to be averaging 28 a game. He's still going to be doing this. I sound ridiculous because I'm in my fandom when I'm doing that. And the reason why I sound ridiculous is because I'm not being realistic. I'm talking like these guys are never going to get old. Like they're going to be like they're not going to age. 36 years old and 40 are not the same. They're not. They're not. And we look at guys, it's the gift and the curse. We look at guys like LeBron James and Tom Brady, and we think that that's the norm. It's not. Unfortunately, it is not. That's not realistic. That's not. Those guys are anomalies. Those guys are not the norm. They are the exception to the rule. But I understand you, Noman. And the reason why I understand you off the strength that I was the same way with Jordan. Like in 2003, Jordan was washed. Jay was over. Jay was finished. I didn't want to let him go, though. Can you play one more year, Jay? You can still do it. You can still do it. One more year. When in reality, it was obvious that Jay, he didn't hop like he used to. He didn't move like he used to. He didn't defend like he used to. But I was so wrapped up in my fandom that I wasn't ready to let him go. And this is a 40-year-old. 40. This isn't the same dude who was 35 years old. This isn't the same dude who was 36 years old just 4 years ago when they won the NBA championship. It's not the same guy. So when you tell me that a guy who's we just saw not 2 weeks ago, he rolled his ankle. Steph Curry's got bad wheels. He's always had bad wheels. They just did a good job in managing him. But now, this is what we're going to do. We see this stretch of the Golden State Warriors, and you're going to tell me that Steph Curry is going to play like this at this level for at minimum 3 more years. I can't talk basketball with you, brother. I can't. I cannot. And I will not. So, with that being said, I think the door to the Western Conference flew open, B. I do. I think the door to the Western Conference just flew open. That's not to say that Oklahoma City had it wrapped up, because, like I said, I had Minnesota at the top of the West. I have them as my finals representative in the Western Conference, and I'm still standing until somebody bounces them out the playoffs. I'm standing on that. With that being said, to lose a guy like Chet, right? To lose a guy like Chet, this throws a monkey wrench in what they're trying to do. It does. This throws a monkey wrench in what they're trying to do. Speaking of throwing a monkey wrench in something, the Eastern Conference threw a monkey wrench in my logic. I thought that they were going to be way better than what they were. I got two teams as of right now. I think I got two teams as of right now in the standings in the East over 500. Right? I got two teams in the East as of right now over 500. I thought the Western Conference was going to be a lot tougher than what it is. A lot tougher. Only except it's been the complete opposite of that. I did not expect Milwaukee to be this bad. No, I didn't. I'd be lying to you if I said I had Milwaukee as a top 4 seed. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to act like they can't turn it around. I'm not going to do that. And what I'm also not going to do, I'm also not going to act like I didn't see a team turn it around 2 years ago with Anthony Davis. I mean, they started the season 2-10. They ended up making some trades. They ended up getting some guys in the lineup. Yeah, they ended up making some trades. They ended up getting some guys in the lineup. They ended up with one of the best defenses. I'm sorry, if not the best defense in the league. Right? If not the best defense in the league. And they made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. They were able to turn that ship around. Now, if they could have avoided Denver, I like the Lakers against anybody during that run. I do. I like them against anybody during that run, except Denver. Denver was just, they were a freight train. And I don't think that there was anybody that was stopping them. Nobody. So, with that being said, I've seen teams turn it around. I did see the Lakers go 2-10 in the 22-23 season to start the season. This Milwaukee Bucks team, I watched them yesterday afternoon against the Celtics, and I thought that Drew Holiday did a great job bottling up Damian Lillard. I thought he did a great job in that. I thought he did a great job in bottling him up. Great. I don't think it was good. I think it was a great job. Now, I do understand that a lot of the stuff that the Boston Celtics, a lot of the stuff that they do is by design, and it could be frustrating from time to time. Oh, 100% it could be frustrating from time to time. But I can honestly say, I don't think this thing is over. And I hear a lot of people telling me, you know, Giannis is getting traded. This is the same Giannis who told Milwaukee that he wasn't signing an extension. Right? This is the same Giannis who told Milwaukee he wasn't signing an extension because he wanted to see if they were going to have an opportunity to compete for an NBA championship. They go out and they get Damian Lillard to show that we're serious about making moves. He signs an extension. I think that window at that point, this was last year, the beginning of last year, he signs that extension. I said, this is a 3-year window. Off the strength that Damian Lillard is 33 years old. I think that this is a 3-year window because after 3 years, I think Dame starts to slow down, and I think that their window closes. Giannis committed to 3 years. He committed to 3 years. You guys are scapegoating him and letting him out of this instead of making him figure it out and making them figure it out. They might have picked the wrong guy. But they can turn this around because I've seen teams turn it around. I've seen the Lakers turn it around. I've seen the Lakers turn it around. I've seen the Lakers get better. Anthony Davis became the best defensive player in the game in the second half of the season. The Lakers became the best defensive team. And they turned it around. Especially considering what the Eastern Conference is. Especially considering what the Eastern Conference is right now. Because just so you know, as of today, Detroit Pistons are in the play. They're 3 games under 500. If the season ended today, the Pistons are in the play-in tournament. If the season ended today. Yes, they are. They actually edge out Atlanta. If the season ended today. So there's no way that I'm buying that Milwaukee can't turn this around. Because they 100% can turn this around. Yes, they can. It's just going to take, it may take some moves. It may take a different scheme. I don't think that Doc Rivers, I don't think Giannis, I don't think they took advantage of Boston switching yesterday. I don't. Watching Drew Holiday switch on to Giannis, you got to take advantage of that. You have to. You 6'10", and you got a 6'4" dude on you. I don't care how good of a defender Drew Holiday is. Go after him. Don't let him off the hook. If I can see other players going at him, like Miles McBride, you could go after him too. Go after him. Don't let him off the hook. Don't do that. Do not. So with that being said, if there's anybody in the East that can turn it around, it's Milwaukee, considering what the East is. Because like I just said, if the season ended today, the Detroit Pistons are a play-in team. They're knocking on the playoff door. That's what they're doing. So, but I want to hear from you guys. I do. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Are the Oklahoma City Thunder over? What up?
Hey, what up, Jill, man? Is the audio all right? We good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. This Chet injury, I believe he's out for like 8 to 10 weeks, man. I think we had a conversation about OKC at the start of the year, right? I said if they're healthy, everyone's playing for second in the West, right? I believe we had that conversation.
You had them running away with the Western Conference. You didn't say that they were at the top. You thought it was going to be them, and it was going to be everybody else.
Right. And if you look at the numbers, they were having a historic season, right? You're looking at it saying this is the best defense we've ever seen in the NBA.
Ever. 92 Bulls, 89 Pistons, 2004
I believe someone can fact check this. When they have Alex Caruso and SGA on the court, they have the best defense, not only in NBA history. It's like you can look at this season, right? And the gap between first and second is greater between second and last, right? That's how good their defense is. So even with Chet being gone for a while, it's going to hurt them because he's their most important piece. But because they're so good on the perimeter, Jay, if there's any team that can play small ball, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Now, Hardenstein should be back around December. I don't know what date he's going to be back because the Thunder are very careful with injuries. If I'm the Thunder, I maybe look to make a call, see if maybe someone like a Vucevic or like just a big who can stay healthy, run the floor, provide them with some size is available, just so they have another option so they can wait on Chet.
Here's my question to you, though, Adrian. When you say that if there's anybody that can play small ball, it's Oklahoma City. Well, the Warriors proved that we can small ball better than you.
Oh, for sure. But I think the difference between OKC and the Thunder is the perimeter. I just like Draymond is a great defender.
You mean the Warriors, sure.
But the depth that OKC have on the perimeter is crazy. Like, you can make an argument that you got Cason Wallace, you got Lou Dort, you got Caruso, even that kid, the French dude, Ousmane Dieng. He's a hooper. I like him a lot, yo.
Wiggins,
and you're looking at it going. Even Isaiah Joe is showing me a lot.
Isaiah Joe,
he's a player.
You got a bunch of perimeter. You got a bunch of perimeter players, 100%. But can I say the same thing about the Golden State Warriors? I mean, they're pretty stacked on the perimeter with Gary Payton, Buddy Hield and Melton, and Steph Curry, and
Sure.
Pods. I mean, whatever you have on the perimeter, I mean, we got that too. And I'm also thinking about what Phoenix has. I'm thinking about what Minnesota has with DiVincenzo, Alexander Walker, and I'm thinking about guys like that. So, I mean, when you're talking about playing small ball, when I think about Denver might have from 1 through 6. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of teams better. I mean, I think the Celtics are better.
Celtics for sure.
I think the Celtics are better. There aren't a lot of other
Can we
teams
put Cleveland in that conversation?
Yes.
Because I'm ready to go there, Chill. Like, remember when we also had the conversation about Kenny Atkinson, and I'm so happy we had that conversation in the offseason.
Yep.
Because we brought up how he helped with the Nets, right?
Yep.
And what he's going to do to Mobley. I believe me and you are being on lockstep with the Cavs. They're going to go as far as Mobley takes them, right? That, like, Garland and Mitchell will determine their floor. How the minimum expectation of the Cavs will be determined on that backcourt. The front court determines their ceiling. And if Mobley is playing like that, there's no ceiling on this Cavs team. They're a contender.
I wouldn't be surprised if they was in the East Finals, Adrian. It would not surprise me.
I would not be surprised either.
When I said that in the summertime, they told me I was a delusional old man. That's what they told me.
So here's another question I want to ask you. I don't want to take too much of your time, Chill, right? If they were to match up against Boston right now, right? Because the Porzingis is the thing that makes Boston unbeatable for me. Because that's just a nightmare matchup for me, right? Do you have to take Jared Allen out of the game and play Mobley at the 5?
I think you're going to do that anyway. I don't think that I can't eliminate Jared Allen though, because he's too good around the rim for me to completely take him out of the game. Because he can do other things in addition to finishing around the rim. He does rebound. He does rim protect. He can make free throws. So when he gets fouled as a big, he can go to the stripe and be effective at the free throw line. So I can't just completely eliminate him. Now, I do like Mobley playing at the 5. And the reason why I like Mobley playing at the 5, because again, if I got Porzingis, if he's dealing with Porzingis, because again, you're talking about a Boston team that's very switch heavy. So if he's dealing with a guy like Porzingis who wants to drag Mobley away from the basket, Mobley can do that and recover. I think he can guard.
He's got the quickness.
I think he does. I think he can guard 22, 24 feet away from the basket. But then I think he can also recover and get back to the rim. I think he can do that. If
Porzingis or Tatum beats him, he has the speed to recover and block a shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has the length to disrupt people on the perimeter. Like, that's the thing I love about Mobley, man. Like, he's so versatile.
Yep.
Like, he's just so intelligent as a player.
Yep.
I'm not going to take too much of your time, Chill. I know you got a lot of calls.
All right,
I just hope the Bulls got a losing streak now. We got to keep that pick. We need to find the guy of our future. But thanks for having me on, man.
Brother. Good to talk to you. Yo,
what up, Chill?
What up?
What up? Yeah, I think with the Chet injury, and not even with just his injury, just all the injuries in the West, I think that what that means is that the Nuggets are going to get the number 1 seed, and Jokic is going to get his 4th MVP. And I think that now, because I don't think you can beat Jokic with small ball, because he slows the game down, and he's going to take advantage of those matchups. So I think the Minnesota Timberwolves last year, they had the perfect recipe. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, they got a good recipe. But it's just that now those other players on the Nuggets, they got some athletic guys that are now making shots. And I think that a team led by Jokic generates the best looks out of any team in the NBA by far. And now they've gotten into a rhythm. And now with all these injuries, Chill, what if they go on the streak and now they run away with the number 1 seed? And Jokic is going to get 4 MVPs.
Well, Joker, in terms of small ball, I mean, I think that's perfect for his game because that's who he is. He's a big who can play small ball. See, like a lot of guys that are bigs can't play small ball off the strength that they can't play on the perimeter. Joker can play on the perimeter. In fact, they run their offense through him off the perimeter. They don't run it through him on the block. And when they play fast, because Russ speeds the game up, because Jamal Murray speeds the game up, Joker can run the floor. Now, I think that Dallas, they had a weakness. They showed a weakness from Denver yesterday that I don't think that they capitalized on. I thought Daniel Gafford did a great job in rim running, and I think that they went away from that. And I do understand I mean, Swiper said this to me earlier. The idea that you can't stick with that because of how quickly Denver scores and how quickly they throw you in the hole. Well, you could combat that by continuously speeding up the game. That's why you got Luka. You got the distributor because Luka is the distributor and playmaker he is. If you're rim running and you are running Joker rim to rim, that's going to wear on him. Eventually, it's going to wear on him. So I think that could be a chink in their armor. But I'll tell you this, Classic. I think the Celtics are going to win 65 to 70 games. I think Jason Tatum averages 30 and 8 and 6 assists. I dare you to keep the MVP from him. I dare you.
Yeah, well, that's one reason, Chill, why this injury bothers me because I don't want Jokic to win that 4th MVP because I really think Tatum deserves one. Because I actually prefer Tatum's resume over Jokic's resume because I value like the playoff wins and everything. And I actually think that if Tatum's resume and Jokic's resume switched, I kind of feel like Jokic would be more respected because the way he plays now, if everything else stayed the same, but just their resume, I actually think he would be considered higher because it would be proof like, man, this guy just wins so much. So I don't want Jokic to get that 4th because he's playing so good right now.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, man. These injuries and now they on a winning streak. I hope somebody can slow them down in the West.
We're gonna find out. Good to talk to you, brother.
All right, man. You have a good one.
I got a super chat from Will Hall of Famer. He says, "What up, Chill? Which team has surprised you the most this year?" Cleveland. I had Cleveland as a top 3 seed. Did I have Cleveland rolling like this though? Undefeated? And I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, they got the Celtics on the 19th. Other than that, I mean, if they could get by the Celtics, I might be looking at a 20-0 start. I might be looking at a 20-0 start from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I expected Evan Mobley to be better this year. He looks like he's playing at an all-pro level. That's what he looks like. He's definitely playing at an all-star level. I dare you to keep him off the all-star team. I dare you. What up, Snead?
Chill, what up?
What up?
Couple points, Chill. The Milwaukee Bucks talk has to stop. They don't have any identity. Nothing. I've been watching these guys for several games. There is nothing you can hang your hat on, unfortunately. As talented as Giannis is, as talented as Dame is, they're consistent, their lack of consistency defensively, it's a play here and a play there. They're getting cooked on the perimeter on screens, these rim rolls. Like it's crazy to see how a lack of adjustment, lack of attention to the detail on some of these plays. Doc doesn't seem like the guy. He just doesn't seem like it. So you predicting they'll get it together, I respect your basketball intellect. So I will never question your prediction in that respect. I just don't see any path to that fix or that turnaround right now. I don't see anywhere. I can't say, okay, well, they beat Philadelphia, but that doesn't prove anything to me. I'm looking at losses to Chicago. I'm looking at losses to Brooklyn. Okay, you lost to Boston, right? It's not a bad loss, right? You were in it. But bro, Boston was just jacking up threes. And they were just long rebounds, and then you couldn't capitalize on the other end. You lost twice to
Cleveland. They got blown out at home by Chicago.
You lost twice.
They got blown out by Chicago.
Okay, and then you lost to Cleveland in 2 winnable games. You were in them, both of them, and one you didn't even have Giannis, and you gave away the games. There's no identity, Chill, is all I'm saying.
And that's a problem. That's a huge problem when I'm thinking about what exactly you're going to hang your hat on. If you think about these championship teams, when you think about just this season that just passed, the Boston Celtics, what was their identity? They were a long ball jump shooting team,
right,
that defended.
Right.
That was their identity. The year before that, their offense, the Denver Nuggets, their identity was running the offense through Joker. That was their identity. Getting buckets, being multifaceted, being the best 2-man game in the game. That was their identity. The Golden State Warriors, their identity was their defense. The Milwaukee Bucks, their identity was their defense with both Giannis and
Yes, sir.
Holiday.
Yes, sir.
So if the Milwaukee Bucks, is there anything, since you bring that up, it's interesting you bring that up because I'm thinking to myself, what exactly does Milwaukee do that I can go, okay, we can build on that?
Nope.
The only thing that I'm thinking, Sneed, is they got Dame and Giannis. That's what I'm hanging my hat on. When you got arguably the best player in the game, and you got arguably when you got a top 10 league guard in the game. When you have those two things, I'm thinking to myself, we can't stay this bad. This thing has to turn around. These guys are going to get it together. Even though the way that this roster is constructed, it's constructed pretty poorly.
The only thing that would have helped them, they traded away. Drew Holiday would have anchored that team, just like he was there when they won their chip. Brook Lopez was younger, more effective. Portis was younger, more effective. These guys had defined roles. Now you're asking guys to do more than they should, right? Because you can argue that Dame doesn't do enough. You can argue that Giannis doesn't do enough. I mean, personally, I just haven't seen the evolution of Giannis's game. That's really my only gripe against Giannis. He makes incredible plays defensively. He makes incredible plays. And then offensively, you know, he's their main scoring option.
Right.
But to be honest with you, Chill, I don't see the turnaround. And to kind of go to another point, the Thunder are going to be fine. SGA is an MVP caliber player. They will find a way to stay around 500 or better without Chet. They'll be fine.
Sneed. Here's the thing, though, Sneed. Again, when you say that they're going to be around 500, like in the Western Conference, what does 500 mean?
They're gonna probably be fourth when he gets back, maybe fifth.
I don't think 500 is going to be enough, man. Considering what the West is, because I'm thinking about the West right now, right? And I got like Sacramento is 2 games over 500. Dallas is at 500. They're 11th right now. They're out the playoffs. If the season ended today, Dallas misses the playoffs. They're out. So if Oklahoma City is going to be around 500, that's a play-in team.
Well, no, what I'm saying is they're 8-2 right now. I think if you they're at 8-2.
Yep.
If they play 15 games without Chet, I think they're 8-7 in those 15 games. So they're still.
You think they're going to stay? So you think that they play 500 ball for now, but they stay above 500?
Yes.
Okay, I could get with that. I think that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tall task, though, man. I do.
I think SGA is that guy, though. I think he can carry that team. I think they can make it up. I think you need a little bit extra from your other guys, but guys got to step up, right? And they've proven to have taken a step last year, right? And the core of the team got better because you brought in guys that can enhance your defense.
But Sneed, that was largely due to Chet being there. Like
Chet
brings that dynamic that they didn't have. I
can
appreciate your logic with SGA. I can definitely appreciate that.
But there's games against the Kings, and there's games against the Spurs, and there's games against the Pels without Zion, and there's games against the Blazers. They're playing all these teams. I think they can be a 500 team without him in the lineup. I think they're going to lose some games because they don't have him. You know, I think like the Nuggets beat them, those types of games. I think the Warriors can give them a hard time, you know, seeing the way they've kind of outperformed. But now Steph is out, right?
Yep.
Okay, Steph's back. Okay, yeah. So
KD
is out. KD is out. So that you got to think the Suns have a little regression in them, right?
Yes,
so they'll peel back if he doesn't play for a couple weeks. Were they talking hamstring, right?
Yep, at least 2 weeks.
Okay, let me chill. You've been in this game a minute, bro. A hamstring injury to an aging player.
He's gonna be out a month. He's gonna be out a month,
and there is no guarantee that he won't re-aggravate that sucker the first game back.
It's a calf injury, actually. It's not his hamstring. It's
calf even
injury.
worse.
You know how I feel about calf injury, Sneed. You know how I feel about.
He's 36.
36 years old.
He can re-aggravate that shit in game 1.
And you know what happened when he came back too early from that calf injury. The last thing I want to see is to see him rip that thing again. No,
and he knows that. And he knows that, Chill. And he's being advised on that for sure, 100%. And for the Cavs, look, Chill. You called this about the Cavs. There's one thing we didn't call. Because I've been on the Cavs wagon too. We didn't think it was going to happen this fast. This run was coming. We just didn't see Atkinson pushing all the right buttons this early. Let me tell you something about the Cavs. And I've been watching all the games because that's my home team. They are winning games in a new way every game, right? And to the Adrian, the brother that was talking about the Cavs, he said that the ceiling is from the what did he say? The ceiling was from the guards. Or did he say the ceiling was the bigs?
No, it was the guards.
The ceiling is Garland because Garland is the only wild card. They've won games with Mitchell not being great. They've won games with Jared Allen out of the game. It's Darius Garland. We're down 10 when Garland plays poorly. When he picks it up and starts carrying more of the scoring and starts facilitating and he's being effective, we're closing the leads. Like, I've watched every minute of what he's done, right? And you know what, man? I'm looking at Mobley. He's extremely consistent on both sides of the floor. He has become dependable. He's not a wild card anymore.
I got him as the defensive player of the year. I do.
And I'm not mad at it.
I thought he was the defensive player of the year. Wemby this and Chet that. I said the same thing about SGA 2 years ago when the Jason Tatum logic started, where 2 years in the 21-22 season, SGA and Jason Tatum was not a conversation. It just wasn't. And then all of a sudden, Jason Tatum, who has a better year, and then enter SGA, now it's a conversation. So Evan Mobley in year 2, he finishes 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year. Not only does he finish 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year, he's awesome as a rookie. He's elite as a second-year guy. Chet isn't even in the league yet, which means that this isn't a conversation. So what happened between last year and this year that he jumps over Evan Mobley? I'm confused of what happened.
Yeah, it's been incredible to see his ascension on both sides.
I'd like to know what happened. I still have not gotten a satisfactory answer. So
no, you won't get it.
Anyway, so
the last thing I'll throw in there, Chill, because I know you got others waiting in the back. The thing about the Cavs and the thing about Atkinson, he said something I needed to hear. And I noticed that when they pulled Jarrett Allen, I thought he was injured because he's such an integral part of their team. They pulled him out because of a matchup. They pulled him out because something wasn't working. Atkinson is pushing all the right buttons every time. Every time, he hasn't missed yet. That's why they're undefeated. The guys are good. We give all the credit to the players, but Atkinson is the one putting these lineups in. He said, hey, we were down 13, 14, 15 points. It wasn't working. I had to pull him out. We had to try something different. There are a lot of coaches that will die on the top of a hill just because it's their way. No, he said, we got to try something else. They bring in the small lineup. They move Mobley to the 5. You got yourself a win. Thanks, Jill. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. And it worked. It absolutely worked. I was high on this, and this is my logic when it comes to teams like the Cavs, teams like Oklahoma City, right? Teams like Sacramento. When you have a crew that's been together for quite a while, when you have a crew that's been together for quite a while and they're making progress, you have to recognize that progress. You have to. If you can't recognize that progress, then you aren't recognizing how they building this unit. Darius Garland is an all-star in year 3. They give him the ball, they give him the extension. Enter Donovan Mitchell. Kind of sets Darius Garland back a little bit, but enter Evan Mobley, the defensive mastermind that they have. Okay, so now we got our big in terms of our defensive mastermind. We end up getting Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen on our crew. We got a bunch of kids over here that we're building something with. Over here, and it's working. It just takes some time, but everything is right now. No, it's not. This team has progressed every year with favorable matchups, which is important, 100% important. But with favorable matchups, they've progressed. They've gone from being a play-in team to a first-round team to a semifinals team. I feel like the next step is the East Finals. That's why I would not be surprised if they was in the East Finals this year. Now, does that mean that this team could win the NBA championship? It's like the Mets in 2015. I was not prepared for the Mets to be in the World Series in 2015. I thought that we would at least challenge for the NL East that year. I did not see us winning a pennant. I was completely thrown off guard. Like, what the hell are we doing here? We 2 years early. I thought that we would challenge with a pennant in 16 and then be a legit champion by 17. That's what I thought we were. Only except in 2015, we in the World Series. I'm like, I am so not prepared for this. Now, can Cleveland jump the gun? Right? Can Cleveland jump the line and end up in the East Finals and an injury here and get lucky and find themselves in the NBA championship? I'm not going to go that far, but I think that this team, I think their ceiling this season, I think, is the East Finals. I feel like the way I feel about them is the way I feel about Oklahoma City. I feel like they're still a year away from really challenging for the NBA championship. I still feel like they're one more year away. But Speaking about going away, it's about that time for me, guys. It was good to see you guys tonight. Y'all know what time it is when y'all see me. We do this every week. Chilltown Hoops, you know where to find me. If I'm not here, I'm on TikTok, 9 a.m. Good Morning NBA. If I'm not there, I'm on the panel, 11 to 2. If I'm not there, I'm on tomorrow night with my man Tony Tone on the Sports Fluent Network and the Chilltown Hoops Network. Me and my man Tony Tone, Fluent and Chill. And if I'm not there, I'm here, weeknights. And if I'm not here, you can catch me on Saturdays with my man Big Ox. We do Chill with Chill at 12 o'clock Eastern. So I will see you guys soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Well, last time you talk to your mother. Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys.
It's going down. It's going down. It's going down.